Picture this: a world without walls, just miles of yellow, buzzing ceilings, and fluorescent lights that never flicker out. Asterisk, asterisk. Hello everyone. Welcome to Nightmare Nexus. Today we will present a horror story where someone trapped in the Backrooms, a true analog horror story. So, without further ado, let's get started. Before beginning, please hit the subscribe button so that you never miss out on new videos. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Last month, a VHS tape surfaced on a no-defunct forum. No. Label just a timestamp. The footage shows someone inadvertently walking off camera, disappearing, and then appearing in a place called the Backrooms. You're watching? At first, it's just dull, sickly yellow walls. A humming light above that doesn't glow, it pulses. Every hallway looks like the last. Anxiety sets in. After 30 seconds, a shadow darts behind the cameraman. And so on, ... Asterisk, asterisk, they say. If you noclip out of reality in the wrong places, you end up here. A yellow maze, buzzing with the hum of fluorescent lights that never turn off and never flicker. A place with no windows, no doors, just endless damp carpets and walls stained with age. I used to think it was an internet myth, a creepypasta. But then, something happened to me. It began on a rainy Thursday. I had just finished editing a video for my small urban exploration channel. My content never went viral, but I had a loyal group of night owls who loved watching me sneak into abandoned malls, hospitals, and forgotten subway stations. That night, I stumbled across a thread on an obscure forum. It was titled, "If you see this door, don't open it." There was a photo attached, grainy, VHS quality, showing a peeling yellow door in the back of what looked like an old office building. The kind of place where time stopped in the 90s. I didn't know what compelled me, but something about that door felt ... familiar, as if I had seen it before, maybe in a dream. There were coordinates listed below the post. A quick search placed them just a few hours from me. I grabbed my camera, flashlight, backup batteries, and headed out. By midnight, I was standing in front of the decaying remains of an office park, long condemned and forgotten by the city. Rain tapped the roof of my car in a steady rhythm as I looked up at the building. It was skeletal, with shattered windows and graffiti-scrawled walls. Still, the structure stood, stubborn against time. Inside, the air was thick with mold and old paper. My boots squished against soggy carpet as I moved past cubicles left in Disaraka coffee mugs, calendars frozen in 1996, office chairs still spinning from ghosts. I searched for nearly an hour before I saw it. It's tucked behind a collapsed wall. And filing cabinet? There it was. The door, it looked exactly like the photo. Yellow paint chipped, a brass handle dulled with age. My breath caught in my throat. I raised the camera and hit record. The red light blinked at me, silently urging me forward. I touched the handle, cold dot with a deep breath. I turned it. The door opened soundlessly. There was no room on the other side. No hallway, just yellow. A corridor of endless wallpaper stretched before me, the same yellowed pattern repeating into infinity. The same buzz of the lights from the forum video filled my ears. I took one step forward, then another. The door slammed behind me. I spun around. The door was gone. Nothing but more hallway. Panic tickled the back of my mind, but I steadied myself. This had to be a prank. Someone set this up. Right. I walked for what felt like hours. No intersections. No exits. Just turns left, right, more left. I started leaving marks with a Sharpie on the walls, arrows pointing back. Notes, this way, out, but I never saw them again. It was like the walls swallowed them. I turned a corner and found a chair. A single office chair, torn and sagging. Next to it, a tape recorder. I picked it up, pressed play. Nothing but static. Then, don't trust the corners. The voice was faint, male, cracking with static. I dropped it and stepped back. That's when I heard it. Footsteps, not mine, soft, deliberate, heavy. They echoed from around the bend. I held my breath and turned off my flashlight. The buzzing lights above flickered slightly, as if acknowledging my fear. I waited, pressed flat against the wall. The steps stopped. A shadow stretched into the hallway, long and hunched. Something was breathing low, ragged, animal-like. Then it whispered, "You shouldn't be here." I ran. I don't know how long I ran. My legs burned, lungs clawing for air, heart smashing against my ribs. I turned corner after corner, each identical, each leading nowhere. I thought I'd gone mad. Then, ... silence, no. Buzzing. No lights, nothing. I had stumbled into a dark patch, lights above me, gone dead. I couldn't see, not even my own hands. Just darkness. I fumbled for my flashlight, but when I turned it on, the light only stretched a few feet. There was a door. A real door, blue. Rusted, different. I opened it without thinking. Anything to get away. It led into a room. Smaller than the hallways, like a janitor's closet. Inside, a mirror, floor to ceiling, and a desk with a VHS tape. The tape had my name. On it, my real name. That's when I remembered I never told anyone where I was going. And the forum post. Gone, deleted, like it never existed. I looked into the mirror, and the man staring back wasn't me. Asterisk, asterisk, the man in the mirror blinked before I did. His smile stretched wide, unnatural, like his skin was too loose, too willing to peel away from. The bone, I staggered back, heart pounding in my ears, but the image didn't move with me. He stood still, grinning, staring. Then the mirror shattered from the inside. I dropped the flashlight. The crack of the glass rang in my skull as thousands of shards scattered across the tiny room. But no sound followed. No thump, no broken body. Just empty silence. I picked up the tape, my name written in smudged black marker. My full name, I hadn't used it online in years. Not even on tax records. There was a small, old-fashioned TV on the corner of the desk, somehow plugged in to nothing. The screen flickered to life before I touched it. I inserted the tape, it played me. Footage of myself walking into the abandoned office building, stepping over debris, entering the yellow door. Camera angles I never captured. Overhead shots, close-ups from hallways I never turned down. One clip showed me sleeping on the floor of the yellow hall, curled up like a child. Another showed me talking to something in the dark. But there was no sound, just my lips moving. Just static. Then the tape ended. The screen turned black. I stood in the dim glow of the broken mirror and knew I was being watched. Not just now, always. I turned toward the door, heart hammering, when I saw something impossible. A second door. I hadn't noticed it before. It blended with the wall like a mirage. It pulsed gently, breathing, no handle. Just a single sentence, carved into its frame. You are filming still. I reached for the camera strapped to my chest. The battery was full. I hadn't changed it once, but it was hot scalding, like it had been running for days. Behind me, the tape began playing again. But the footage was new. It showed me. As opening the second door, my hands trembled as I turned around. The mirror shards on the floor had rearranged themselves, spelling out something, "Don't record the thing." A sharp screech erupted from the TV, not static. Screaming, I bolted out the room and back into the hallway. But this time, it wasn't. Yellow dot, it was red. Blood-red walls, sticky floors, lights dimmed to a hellish glow. And the air smelled like copper and burnt plastic. I ran, dodging doors that blinked open and shut like mechanical eyelids. Then, I heard it again, the footsteps. Louder, faster. They weren't trying to be quiet anymore. I turned a corner and slammed face first into a wall. No a window. On the other side, I saw my apartment. My real apartment. My cat sleeping on the couch. My phone buzzing on the table. My laptop open to an editing timeline. The timestamp read 1 hour ago. I pounded the glass. Nothing, and then I saw myself walk into the frame. I was sitting at my desk, editing footage, laughing. I was happy, but that wasn't me anymore. The lights above me burst. Darkness again. Something growled, low and guttural. Right behind my ear. I didn't turn around. I see OULD in single quotes, T, instead. What do you want from me? The thing didn't answer. It breathed. And the walls started to melt. Asterisk, asterisk. I stumbled backward as the walls dripped like wax, yellow and red merging into a putrid orange sludge that slithered along the floor. My boots stuck with each step, the carpet hissing beneath me as though it were alive. The air was suffocating. Now thick, heavy. Like I was inhaling old paint and rotting meat, something moved in the distance. It didn't walk, it dragged. A wet, scraping sound that echoed in rhythm with my heartbeat. I turned and ran again, the hallway contorting as I moved, widening, narrowing, tilting sideways like I was sprinting through a spinning bottle. Doors now lined the walls, too many to count, each one vibrating like they were filled with something desperate. I could hear whispers behind them, pleading, screaming. A child's giggle. My mother's voice? No, it couldn't be. Eli, dinner's ready. She called, cheerful and warm, like she used to when I was 7. That exact tone, that exact cadence. I hadn't heard it in 20 years, not since the accident. I froze. The door to my left slowly creaked open. Inside was my childhood kitchen. Untouched, my mother stood at the stove, her back to me. The wallpaper, the duck-patterned yellow wallpaper, exactly how I remembered it. The air smelled of baked potatoes and garlic chicken. "Mom," I whispered. She turned around, but it wasn't her. Her eyes were hollow, black pits oozing something, thick and red. Her smile was wide, too wide, cutting through her cheeks. She lifted a spoon toward me. "You're not eating," she said in a voice layered with static. I slammed the door shut and bolted. The walls screamed. This time screamed 1,000 voices crying out at once. My ears rang. My vision blurred. And just as I thought I would, collapse. I burst into another corridor that felt ... different, quiet ... still, too still. The buzz was gone. No lights flickered, no whispers. It felt dead, but in a way that was unnatural, forced. Like something was waiting. At the far end of the corridor, I saw a television cart. The kind used in schools, the bulky kind with wheels and straps. The screen was on. It displayed me again. But now, I wasn't alone. A shape stood behind me in the footage. Tall, gaunt, featureless. Its head tilted slightly, as if curious. Then the TV screen flickered and the thing turned to look at the camera. My camera? Right now. I spun around. Nothing. Just the empty hallway. But something had changed. My shadow wasn't moving like me anymore. It twitched on its own. And then it stepped away. Split from my feet, it turned to face me, identical, except for the eyes jet black, shimmering deep like the void. It spoke in my voice, but distorted. Slowed. "You're recording the wrong side." Then it lunged. Asterisk, asterisk. I didn't scream. There wasn't time. The thing, my shadow. My double rushed at me like smoke that had learned how to kill. I flung myself to the floor, hands scraping against broken tile, and rolled away just as it crashed. into the wall behind me. The plaster cracked. Dust spilled like ash. I scrambled to my feet and ran again, the echo of its distorted voice trailing behind me like a fever dream. "You're recording." The wrong side. What did that mean? The hallway ahead split into 3 paths. Left, right, straight. Each was identical, flickering like broken film. I had no time to think. I went right. The sound changed immediately. The moment I crossed the threshold, the air turned cold, freezing, metallic. My breath fogged, clung to the air like ghostly fingers. The lights were dimmer here, almost dead. In the distance, something was blinking green, faint, like a dying exit sign. I pushed forward, legs aching. My clothes were damp with sweat and something else I didn't want to name. Every few steps, I heard movement, small things skittering across the ceiling. No footsteps, just rustling. And a sound like wires rubbing together. Then I saw it. A wall of televisions stacked, messy, towering. All of them buzzing with static, except one. That one played a loop. Me again. Only now. I wasn't in the yellow maze. I was in my apartment, talking to the camera. I escaped, the other me said, but I knew that wasn't true. I was still here. I leaned closer. The me on the screen stopped speaking and looked up. Directly at me. Then he grinned and said, "I left you behind." Suddenly, every TV flickered to life. Images of other people, dozens, maybe hundreds. Men, women, children, all trapped, all walking those same yellow halls, some screaming, some silent, some missing their faces, and on every screen, behind them, was something else. The creature always just behind, always watching. A low frequency hummed from the screens. My bones vibrated. My nose bled. Then every screen burst at once, raining glass and white sparks. I ducked and covered, but when I looked up, the hallway was gone. I was back. In the office building, the original one-desk chairs, moldy cubicles, faded posters on corkboards. Was it over? Had I escaped? I walked forward cautiously. The air smelled stale, but real. I found an emergency exit door. Pushed it. It opened a stairwell. Concrete, familiar. I climbed up 3 flights. Exit door. Bright lights spilled through. I stepped out into the hallway again. Same yellow walls, same flickering lights, and this time on the wall in red marker. "Welcome back, Eli." Asterisk, asterisk. I stumbled back from the wall. Eyes locked on my name written in thick, dripping red. It wasn't dry. The marker, or whatever it was still wet, still fresh. The letters seemed to pulse, almost alive, as though the wall itself was breathing the word Eli with every flicker of the lights. "No," I whispered, but there was no one to hear it. I spun around, desperate for another exit, another sign, something that would prove I hadn't just circled endlessly back into hell. But the corridor was new, slightly different, longer, narrower. The ceiling lower than before. It's almost claustrophobic. A sound reached me. A click. Not loud, not threatening. It came again. It came again. Click. 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 Then I saw it down the hallway. There was a figure seated in a wheelchair. Its back to me. It was facing a wall, unmoving. The clicking came from something on its lap, metal hitting metal. I approached slowly, cautiously, each step echoing far louder than I wanted. My camera trembled in my hand. I couldn't remember the last time I turned it off. The figure was an old man, at least. It looked like one sunken skin, veins bulging along his scalp, eyes hollow and white like marbles left in acid. His fingers were wrapped around a handheld tally counter, the kind used to count people entering a room. Click. He pressed it once as I stepped closer. Click. Again, even though I hadn't moved. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice cracking like glass. He didn't look at me. Didn't acknowledge the sound. Just kept clicking. "Do you know how to get out?" Click. "Are you real?" His lips moved then. Dry, cracked skin split to form a word. I couldn't. Here I leaned in closer. "What?" This time I heard it. 199. He clicked again. 200. The counter dinged with a finality that made my blood freeze. And then the walls began to stretch. I watched in silent horror as the hallway pulled apart like taffy under heat. The ceiling peeled upward. The floor cracked. The light flickered into a strobe. My balance slipped. Vertigo swallowed me whole. The man in the chair let go of the counter. It clattered to the floor and shattered. He turned to face me for the first time, but he didn't have a face. Just a black void. Endless and hungry. It wasn't a hole, wasn't empty. It was watching me back. Then he stood and ran straight toward me. I screamed, turned, fled down the collapsing hallway, past lights bursting overhead, past cracks forming in the walls that bled ink-black tar. I didn't know where I was going. I only knew I had to move. Doors whipped open as I passed, showing brief flashes of other people in other halls, all running, all screaming, all trapped. One room showed my parents sitting at a dinner table, frozen mid-meal, eyes vacant. Another room showed me older, broken, emaciated, scribbling the same sentence over and over on the wall. "I'm not Eli anymore." I didn't stop. Couldn't stop. I reached a stairwell and descended into darkness, skipping steps, slipping, falling, and landing in water. Freezing cold, chest deep. The hallway I'd entered was submerged, flooded with oily black water. The air was thick, hard to breathe. My camera sparked short-circuited, but the red recording light remained on. Somewhere ahead, something was breathing. Loud, rhythmic, slow. I waded forward, teeth chattering. Every step disturbed something. Beneath the surface, slimy, soft, moving. I pushed through the hallway until I saw a door floating ahead, not attached to a wall. Just a door, suspended upright, silent, glowing slightly. Etched into the wood, in small carved letters. "Do not open unless you're ready to see." I hesitated, but behind me, I heard the breathing getting closer. I reached for the knob, and I opened it. Asterisk, asterisk. The door creaked open, not into another hallway. Not into a room, but into blackness, not darkness, blackness, by a void so complete it looked fake. Like a hole punched through the world. It had no depth, no light, no air. And yet, it pulled at me, like gravity. Like memory. Something inside whispered not in words, but in sensation. A tug at my spine. A chill behind my eyes. A scent I hadn't smelled since. I was a child burnt toast and cold sweat. I hesitated, hands still on the knob. The flooded hallway behind me rippled. The breathing had stopped, and that silence was worse than any noise. It was anticipating. I stepped through the door and fell. There was no floor, just falling. Through nothing. Falling for seconds that felt like hours, minutes that felt like dreams. My limbs floated. My mind thrashed, and then I landed softly, on carpet. Not wet, dry, yellow, buzzing lights above. I was back. The hallway, the same hallway, or was it? I sat up. The air was warmer here. Still stale, still wrong, but warmer and quiet. So quiet, I could hear my own heartbeat echo off the walls. I looked down at my camera, still recording. The screen now showed a timer counting upward not. Time elapsed, but something else. It read, "Rec 101 days that couldn't be right." I stood slowly. My knees cracked. My legs ached in a way they hadn't before. My fingers trembled thinner now. My nails had grown. My skin. Paler. No, 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 no. Had it really been that long? I reached into my backpack, pulled out my protein bar half-a-tin, moldy. The wrapper crumbled in my hand. My water bottle. Empty, bone dry, but I didn't feel starved. I didn't feel thirsty. I didn't feel alive. That's when I heard it again. The clicking dot, far off. Faint dot, then closer, closer, then Eli. My name, whispered softly, sweetly, like a lullaby. I turned around, and there, standing just behind me, was a child, barefoot, dirty, smiling, his eyes completely white. He pointed down the hallway. "You forgot something?" T said. I shook my head. "What do you mean?" He smiled wider. "Yourself." Then he vanished. Gone, I backed away slowly, every hair on my body stiff. My hands shook as I turned the camera around, angled it toward my face. I expected my reflection in the lens. Instead, I saw the old man in the wheelchair. My heart stopped. The same sunken skin. The same marble eyes. The same hands holding a counter. Click, 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 and then the lens. Cracked, I dropped the camera, stepped back, and saw my shadow return. It was no longer human. It was tall. Faceless arms, too long, twitching like a broken mill. Puppet, it raised a hand and pointed at me then. In my own voice, it said, "You're not supposed to leave." Asterisk, asterisk, I didn't run this time. I couldn't, my legs locked, paralyzed by something deeper than fear recognition. That thing, that shadowy imitation, it knew me. Not like a stranger studying a victim, but like a twin watching in disappointment. "You're not supposed to leave," it said again. The voice was slower now, melting at the edges. Almost mournful. I forced my mouth to open. "What are you?" It tilted its head, studying me the way a snake does before a strike. "I'm what's left of me." Of time, it didn't say. Instead, it stepped forward, and with each step, the hallway warped. The lights above dimmed. Its carpet beneath us rippled, swelling like waves. The walls grew tighter, closer, narrowing to trap us together. "I want to go home," I whispered. The thing chuckled, a horrible, brittle sound like bones grinding in reverse. "Home is behind you," it said, "but you never turned around." I glanced back. The hallway stretched unendless, unchanged. I hadn't looked behind me in a long time. Every step forward had been desperate, frantic. But now I turned, and what I saw. It was my apartment, clean, warm, lit by the soft glow of sunset through the window. I could hear the faint hum of the city, the clinking of dishes in the kitchen. Someone laughing, a friend, a girlfriend, me. I stepped toward it, one step, two. My fingers brushed the edge of the frame, wooden, cool, real, and then it shattered. Glass exploded outward. The vision collapsed into ash dot behind it. More yellow walls, more. Buzzing, the thing laughed louder. "There is no outside," it whispered. "Only versions. What do you want from me?" I cried out. It didn't answer. It just raised one hand and pointed to the ceiling. I looked up. A projector flickered to life above us. Worry in the silence. It cast a beam of light onto the wall, a head playing a movie. Me again, but not the same. Me, this version, was giving up, sitting in a corner of the yellow hallway, unmoving. Days passing by. Lights flickering overhead. Hair growing longer. Eyes hollow. He looked at the camera and said, "There's nothing left to find." I clenched my fists. "No," I said aloud, "that's not me. That's not who I am." The shadow's form twitched. "Then why are you still here?" And suddenly, everything stopped. The lights went dark. The hum ceased. The air died. Silence. I couldn't see, couldn't breathe, then click. The tally counter again, followed by 201, and then screaming, not mine. Hundreds, maybe thousands, all at once. From above, from beneath. From inside the walls, the hallway howled with pain. I covered my ears, dropped to the floor, curled in on myself. I was shaking, breaking. Something wet splashed on my shoulder. I opened my eyes, blood dripping from the ceiling. The shadow was gone, and the camera was pointing at me, floating, hovering in place. Recording red light, blinking. Timer now reading. Rec. 202 days. And under it, one final line of text burned across the screen. Asterisk, asterisk, do you want to overwrite? It didn't offer options, no, yes, no, no, just those words. Taunting, I stared at them, chest heaving. The blood still dripping around me in thick, rhythmic splats. My fingers twitched toward the camera's controls, hesitating just inches from the lens. What would it mean to overwrite? My memories, my reality, myself. The blinking slowed further, and then stopped. The words burned static onto the screen, frozen. Then, a soft chime sounded from the camera, cheerful, artificial, recording overwritten. Without my input, the red light went dark and the hallway vanished. I wasn't standing anymore. I was sitting at a desk, back straight, hands on a keyboard, facing a glowing monitor. It was my room, exactly as it had been. Posters on the wall. Cracked blinds, coffee-stained mousepad. My cat dozed in the corner, exactly like before. A soft breeze came from the window, and outside. The world looked normal.com. Real. I touched the keys. They responded. I moved the mouse. The screen lit up. With a folder titled Backrooms _day _203 final. I opened it. Dozens of video files. All labeled by day. All with my face as the thumbnail. In some, I was crying. In some, screaming. In others, just staring. Dead-eyed, lost, my stomach turned. I clicked one at random. Day 112. The video began with static. Then my voice. I tried to dig through the wall today. The plaster gives if you use your fingernails long enough. Underneath, it's flesh. I clicked another. Day 145. I haven't heard the breathing in days. I miss it. It gave the place rhythm. Day 188. There was a mirror again. I smashed it, but it laughed. The glass still shows me things. I think it's showing you things too. I slammed the laptop shut. The air shifted. Not wrong, just unfamiliar. Heavy with observation, something creaked behind me. I turned slowly. There was a man sitting on my bed, still silent. Face in shadow. He leaned forward, elbows on knees, voice low. "Welcome back, Eli." "I never left," I whispered. He nodded. "You never will." Then he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a VHS tape. Held it toward me. On the label, in red ink, "Play me to wake up." I didn't take it. Not right away. My fingers hovered over it. "Is this the way out?" I asked. He smiled, just a little, enough to show teeth. "No, it's the way in. The real one." "What was the other then?" He shrugged. "The preview." Then he stood, placed the tape gently on the desk, and walked toward the window. He opened it wide, letting in the city sounds, cars, birds, life. But when I looked outside, there were no streets, no people, just yellow dot, buzzing walls stretching. For miles, the outside was the inside now. I turned back to the tape. It had begun to rewind itself. The worry grew louder, then a voice. Mine again, from inside the tape. Day 1, I found the door. And the screen blinked to life. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Would you like to begin again? My reflection blinked in the darkened screen of the laptop, except it wasn't quite my reflection anymore. The eyes were off, too wide, too calm. Behind me, the man who had delivered the tape was gone. The window he opened now showed nothing but infinite corridors, each flickering, each bending toward me like veins in a giant, breathing organism. The yellow wallpaper outside moved shuddering gently, as if exhaling. I was inside, still inside, always inside. But now I had the tape. It sat on the desk like a relic, waiting, and something inside me, some quiet, withered voice, told me that if I pressed play, I wouldn't be a viewer anymore. I'd become a part of it, not lost in it. Of it, my hand moved without command, trembling as it slid the tape into the player. The machine accepted it with a soft click, and the screen buzzed to life. Static at first, then a soft hum. A face emerged from the blur, my own. But this version of me was smiling, calm, peaceful, like he had found answers. His eyes focused directly on me, like he knew I'd be watching. He leaned in closer. Welcome to your true story, he said. Not the dream, not the fragments, not the panic. The real narrative. The one that's been playing long before you arrived. The lights in the room dimmed. The buzzing began again, distant, familiar, like a melody I didn't remember learning. You were. Never chosen Eli, the tape me continued. You volunteered. My throat closed. No, I started. But the voice on the tape cut me off. You clicked the thread. You followed the coordinates. You opened the door. You turned the camera on. You asked to see. I stumbled back, away from the desk, but the walls were closer, now constricting, folding inward like origami, yellow and buzzing. The cat in the corner looked up at me. Its eyes were gone, just two smooth mirrors reflecting my panicked face. On the screen, my other self laughed, softly, not cruelly. I'll be honest, he said. It hurts at first, the loss of shape, of time, of identity. But eventually, you'll learn to let it go. He pressed a finger to the screen from his side, and I felt it cold glass. But also contact. I backed into the window. Outside, the endless maze twisted upward into towers, sideways into impossible staircases. Shadows moved across the walls. Long, loss. Slow, patient. You want to escape? The voice said now from everywhere, tape walls, inside my own skull. Then do what I did. Stop being you. The camera on the desk turned by itself, now facing me, red light on. Recording again. New timer appeared on the screen. Rec, 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 1 second, and underneath, file, subject. 203 initializing personality reset. I tried to scream, but my voice wasn't mine anymore. It came out distorted, like something underwater, like a memory, trying to be reborn. I looked down at my hands. They were changing, not into something monstrous, but into something unfinished, fading around the edges, flickering like an old film reel catching fire. The room around me stretched again, now infinite, now tight, now bright white, now yellow dot. And the last thing I saw before it all blinked out was the tape ejecting from the player. Landing on the floor, the label had changed. Now it read, Backrooms Subject 204. In progress, asterisk, asterisk. The moment the tape hit the floor, the world fractured. Reality bent like a cracked mirror, splintering into shards of light and shadow. The yellow walls dissolved into static, then reformed. Only now, the buzzing was deeper, louder, almost deafening. It wasn't just a sound anymore. It was a presence. Something alive. I tried to move, but my body felt heavy and hollow at once, like I was both falling and floating. A voice whispered from everywhere and nowhere, weaving through the hum. "Welcome, Eli. You've chosen to see the truth." The air rippled, and suddenly I was somewhere else. Not the maze, not my apartment, but a vast, endless auditorium. Rows upon rows of seats stretched into darkness. A single spotlight illuminated a stage at the far end. On the stage stood me, or rather, a projection, a hollow shell, moving in jerky, unnatural motions. It was playing a loop, endlessly reenacting the moment I found the yellow door. The audience, shadows, countless, faceless silhouettes filling the seats, silent. But watching, waiting, I felt their gaze pierce through me. Then a curtain at the back of the stage slowly parted, revealing a corridor, more yellow walls, more buzzing lights, but this one was lined with doors. Doors that opened and closed by themselves, revealing glimpses of other versions of me, trapped. In their own loops, one was curled in a corner, rocking back and forth. Another was frantically scribbling notes on the wall. A third was lying still, eyes wide open, staring at nothing. A sudden chill swept the auditorium. The voice spoke again. "Every choice you make here is a story. Every story is a prison. And every prison is your creation." I realized then. The truth I'd been running from. The backrooms weren't just a place. They were a reflection. A purgatory. A cage made from my own fears, regrets, and memories. And the thing lurking in the shadows. It wasn't a monster. It was me. All of me. Fragments broken and twisted by the endless loop. I tried to scream, but the sound died in my throat. The spotlights snapped off. Darkness swallowed the stage, and I was left alone, floating, fading in the endless yellow. End of part 8, you said. Part 9, please, ChatGPT said. The darkness stretched on. Thick and suffocating, like a heavy blanket smothering every last breath. I floated, weightless and lost, a whisper caught between moments. Time lost, meaning seconds bled into minutes, minutes into hours, or maybe days. I couldn't tell, I couldn't feel. Then, a flicker. A pulse of light deep inside the void. Faint and trembling, I reached toward it, trembling. The light grew brighter, sharpening into the outline of a door, the yellow door. The one I'd opened, the one that led me here. My heart pounded, an ancient drum calling me back. I pushed toward it, and as I drew closer, the voice returned. Soft, patient. "You cannot leave what you create." I hesitated. But I had to. "Try." I opened the door, the buzzing returned. The yellow walls reassembled, folding around me like a cage snapping shut. But something was different. This time, the hallway was lined with mirrors, each reflecting a version of me trapped in endless cycles of fear and despair. Some smiled, some cried, some screamed, "I dare!" And one mirror showed me standing behind the camera smiling. Free, hopeful, determined. I reached out and touched that reflection. The glass rippled, and suddenly, I was there. Back in my apartment, sunlight pouring through the window. A cat curled on the couch. The phone buzzing. The real world, finally. I exhaled, lungs burning. The nightmare lifted, replaced by the sweet ache of freedom. But deep inside, I knew the truth. The backrooms would always be waiting. A place between places. A test. A mirror. And sometimes, if you look too long into its yellow depths, it looks back, and you don't come back the same. I turned off the camera, closed the laptop, and stepped outside. The world felt new, fragile, and full of possibility. But I never forgot. Because sometimes, late at night, when the lights flicker, I hear the buzzing, and I remember the yellow walls, the endless maze, the shadow that whispered my name. I survived, but the story is never over, because the backrooms aren't just a place. They're a part of me. And maybe a part of you. The sun was just beginning to rise, painting the sky in soft hues of orange and pink, but I felt a chill that no warmth could touch. I stood outside my apartment building, the morning air crisp against my skin. Everything looked the same, familiar, safe, but I knew it wasn't. Not really. The world had shifted beneath me, like the yellow maze had rewired something inside my mind. Faces I passed on the street looked like ghosts, their eyes hollow just like the shadows. Were they trapped too? Did they see the walls I did? The endless corridors hiding just beneath reality. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my camera. It was battered, the lens cracked, but the red recording light blinked stubbornly. I wanted to destroy it, to burn every last memory, but something held me back. Instead, I pressed play. Static hissed, then the familiar flicker of yellow walls. My voice. The story. Our story, the story of the backrooms. And I realized then the nightmare wasn't just mine. It was a warning, a message, a challenge. Because some doors can't be closed. Some shadows can't be outrun. And some stories need to be told. I raised the camera, focused the lens on the world around me, and started recording. The buzz was faint, but it was there, waiting, watching, calling. The backrooms were never far away, and neither was I. Thanks for watching this terrifying, scary story. Hoped you liked it. If you watched till the end, please comment "end" so that we could understand you were with us till the end. If you've ever had a creepy experience, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your stories. As well as, please let us know, where are you watching from? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spine-chilling tales. Last but not the least, before leaving, please check out the horror story ebook. Link in the description. See you in the next one. Till next time, stay safe and stay out of the shadows. Good night, *******.